joining us. Of course, Snowball had to make her grand entrance. Thank you all for joining me Tuesday Tidbits with the Diamond Diva, where we cover fashion, food, faith, fitness, and finances. And tonight, for those of you that don't know me or you're joining for the first time, my name is Tammy Moore. I am the Diamond Diva of Diamond Residential Mortgage. I've been in the mortgage business for 18 years. I am the owner of Tammy P. Moore and Associates. I am a mortgage and credit coach and budget fashionista and stylist. So tonight, every week I try to come on and give you different topics. So tonight I'm going to be talking to you about your budget, how to create a monthly household effective working budget. A lot of people struggle with getting their finances in order. And the first step is really, taking a look at how you spend your money. So without further ado, I will get started. First, I want to tell you what I'm wearing tonight. I'm wearing a t-shirt, a custom t-shirt that says Millionaire Mindset. Every week I try to feature a Black-owned business or a small business or boutique. And this is by Leslie Chiplin Clay. It was custom made. The name of her business is A Few Fine Things, and she ships all over the United States, and she has excellent customer service. I've ordered large quantities. You saw the picture of my grandmother's 95th birthday party. We had over 70 t-shirts. She took care of everything. We had a girls' retreat weekend, so she does an amazing job. And if I just think of something or see a t-shirt that I want, I send it to her and she gets it done for me. So thank you, Leslie. You're featured tonight. And also, I am wearing a custom hat wig from my sister. Happy anniversary, Erica and Pete. Today is their 11th year anniversary. And this wig, I asked her to make. She thought I was crazy when I asked her, but it's actually a wig made for a hat. Doesn't have any hair in the top so that the hats fit really nice. So she is an awesome wig maker. She makes custom wigs. Same thing, think of something crazy. I just let her know and she makes it happen for me. So thank you to everybody that made the mac and cheese last week. I've heard nothing but good things. People have been sending me pictures of it, telling me that it turned out delicious. So that makes my heart glad that the recipe worked for you. So hopefully that'll become a family staple in your household. So let's talk about budgets. Hey, Jackie. So let's talk about budgets tonight. If you want to get the custom wig or t-shirt, I tagged Erica and Leslie in the video that you can contact them directly. They both have amazing customer service. So, all right, so let's talk about finances. If you don't have a working budget, does anybody on here already have a budget that really works? If you do, can you chime in and tell me what works for it? But if you don't have a working budget, the first thing to do is to really figure out what you have coming in and going out. The most important thing is to know what your fixed expenses are. Creating a budget, if you are not good with your finances, it's like going to Alcoholics Anonymous. There's a 12-step program to it because you have to change your mindset and convince yourself that you're worthy of, managing your finances. Because a lot of people are emotional spenders. So you need to know what your fixed expenses are. And fixed expenses are bills you have to pay regardless. You know that you have to pay a mortgage or rent. You need somewhere to live. If you have a car payment, you have to pay car payment. You need gas. If you have health insurance, car insurance, utilities, those are fixed expenses. Variable expenses are expenses that change each month. So if you have car insurance, you may pay it once every 6 months. If you have property taxes, they're due once a year. Those are variable expenses. You want to know what your baseline is. Get down to the nitty gritty of how much do I need to survive. So should I, be unemployed or get sick, what is the minimum that I need coming in? And those are your fixed costs. You want to get to a point, and I'm going to say this early, but I'll talk about it a little bit later. You want to get to a point to where all of your fixed costs, you're so disciplined that you can have those on automatic payment. I mean, it takes time to get to that point, but if you can get to the point where you have it on automatic payment, you do it and you forget about it. Same thing with your savings. If you can get to the point to where you automatically have a transfer coming out for your savings, automatically put into your 401k, you become a better budgeter because that money is automatically coming out. So you're conscious of what you're spending. So the first thing you need to do is forgive yourself. And why do I say that? You need to forgive yourself for all of the things you did in the past and leave them in the past. You're moving towards the future. Everybody at some point in their life has mismanaged their money, me included, has not done what they're supposed to do, has not paid what they're supposed to pay on time. Just forgive yourself. Give yourself a little grace and mercy because nobody is perfect. And don't go into creating a budget with an all or nothing attitude because you will fail. It is not to be strict or make you feel like you're on restriction. It is really to secure the bag and secure your financial future. So don't go into it with the all or nothing, take it 1 month at a time. So the first step into creating a working, realistic household budget is to take 30 days. Some of you may need 60 and keep track of every expense that you have. One, write down how much money you have coming in, your net, because obviously, you can't live off your gross, your net income. And then you want to know what you have going out. For the first month, don't change anything. Get out your bank statements and look at where you spend your money and keep track of it. If you go to the ATM, take that receipt, always get a receipt, and write on the back of the receipt where you spent that money, because that's what I call a budget sabotager. Because you go to the ATM in the middle of the week, and most of the time you go to the ATM because of lack of planning. So you go to the ATM and you withdraw $100. By the time you stop here and there and everywhere, you have $20 left. You have no clue where you spent the other 80. Write on the back of the receipt and put that in your budget. Every time you eat out, every time you stop at Starbucks, every time you get gas, every time you make a co-payment, keep track of it. I always use the envelope system. I have an envelope and I file everything, keep a file cabinet. Put all of your receipts in the envelope throughout the month. And every week, tally them up so that you know. That way you can adjust. So if you say, I'm only going to spend $40 on coffee this week, and by Wednesday, you've already spent $40. Hopefully y'all not spending $40 on coffee, but you may, I don't know. By the end of the week, by the middle of the week, you've already spent the $40, then you know you can't have any more coffee for the week. But if you get to the end of the month and you don't keep track of everything, your budget is going to be a wreck every month. The other thing you need to do is recognize your emotional triggers. What triggers you to spend money that you don't have? Recognize that. Every month, if you set aside a budget for, let's say, leisure, entertainment, we're going to go to the movies, we're going to go to dinner, we're going to have a date night, put all that money aside, put it in your budget so that those things don't wreak havoc on your budget. Plan ahead. I saw a meme. I always like to see memes about finances, and it said, you can afford to travel. All you have to do is make sandwiches. It's as simple as that. Never let different events throughout the year wreck your budget. Christmas comes at the same time every year. Birthdays, same time every year. So that should not be a surprise to you that, oops, I need to do Christmas shopping. If you know you want to splurge for your family on Christmas, start saving in January. Start putting that money aside so that when January comes, you're not biting your nails trying to figure out how you're going to pay off these credit cards. It's the same time. Your anniversary, it's the same time every year. Your car insurance, it's due at the same time every year. These should not come as a surprise to you. This should not be any type of big shocker if you plan. So once you figure out what all of your expenses are, you want to know when they're due. So that way you can budget your money accordingly. If you get paid every 2 weeks and you have your rent due or your mortgage due in the first paycheck and your car payment due in the second, you need to account for that, because you don't want to try to pay them both in one paycheck and then rob Peter to pay Paul for the rest of the month. Same thing with ladies. Listen, we love to get our hair done. We love our wigs. We love our clothes. Once you keep track of how much you spend, set aside a budget for yourself of what you want to spend. Nails, maybe you can't get your nails done until you get your finances in order. Your budget will require some some homework and some sacrifices, but it is completely worth it. Because what you have to think about is you have short-term satisfaction for long-term consequences. If every month you have more bills and money, you have to fix something. And most people have enough money. They just don't, keep track of everything. There are people out here that are struggling, but most of us make the money. We just don't know where it's going. The other thing too, whenever I sit down with somebody to do a budget, the number one thing that they don't realize how much they spend on is food and coffee. Believe it or not, it is not clothes. It's food and coffee. And the reason is, if you have not planned your meals for the week or have not set aside money for lunch, you get up in the morning and you're running late, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go eat out. So your family, you come home, your kids are hungry, you're tired, you're stressed out, you had a hard day at work, you're going to order something to eat or go pick it up. $25 here, $45 there. That's $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. Now that may not seem like a lot, but take $1,200 a year and then $600 a year on coffee. It's $1,800. That's a big deal. So the first thing you have to do is see how much you're spending and then how much you want to spend. And sometimes it's just a matter of planning. A long time ago, my grandmother told me when I first got married to get a crock pot. You will be amazed what you can make in a crock pot. If you want to be financially free, those are the type of sacrifices you have to make. So you have to find the fluff in your budget too. There's a lot of things that you have that are fluff. For example, getting your nails done every week, or you have a cleaning service and you don't need a cleaning service, or you are waiting till the last minute to buy something. ATM fees, overdraft fees. If you have one ATM fee and one overdraft fee a month, that's almost $40. That's $480 a year. So when you start to add these little things up, you may think, every over the limit fees on credit cards, you may think it's $35, but $35 here, $35 there, that's $70. A $3, $5 ATM withdrawal fee, that's $80. $80 over 12 months is $960. That's a lot. So here you have one over the limit fee, one overdraft fee, one ATM fee. That's $960. You spend $1,400 on eating out, $900 on coffee. If you have any credit card debt, it could be wiped out. You could be paying extra on your credit card, extra on your mortgage. So what you have to do is set goals for yourself. So month number 1, your first step is to find out what your fixed costs are. Your second step is to track all of your expenses for 30 days at least. Once you track all of your expenses, then you want to write down your budget so you can see how much you have. Then you are going to subtract what you don't want to spend money on. So now that you've been spending that money anyway, you're going to find another purpose for it. So let's say that you find $700 in your budget, or you find $75 in your budget. You want to do 2 things with that money. You either want to start paying down some extra debt, or you want to start saving it. As much as you can automate everything, do it. If you have access to a 401k on your job, sign up for the 401k. I always say I would rather put money away in a savings account every month and go back and get it than to never put it in there at all. Because what you're going to do is you're disciplining yourself to save. No one's going to get it right the first time, or you're not going to have it perfect the first month. Some people will. Some people are just disciplined. But if you find $75 and you start saving $75 every month, when you get down the road 3 or 4 months and you come up short and you need extra money, you put that money away to go get it. And you can never save too much. Take a look at your family and say, what does my family need? I want to retire. My child needs to go to college. I want to go on a vacation. We want to go on a cruise. Plan for everything. Plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that's exactly what a budget is prioritizing your money and figuring out where it's going. So start with the envelope system and put all of your receipts in there. And then once you find the fluff, you start to pay down one bill at a time. So I'm going to tell you how to do the snowball in a minute, but let me see if don't be all or nothing. Just take it one step at a time. So once you start to find the fluff in your budget, and if you want me to send you a household budget, I have an excellent interactive household budget. You can put your inbox me your email and I'll send you the budget. But once you start to save, sit down with your family after you've done your budget and discuss your finances with your family and your children. That is one mistake that we make as African Americans, or period. We don't discuss finances with our children. We need to explain to them we have goals. No, we might not be able to get this right now, but in the summertime, we're going on a cruise. No, we might not be able to get this right now, but in the future, you're not going to have any student loans when you go to college. No, we may not be able to get this right now, but when Christmas comes, we'll have a wonderful Christmas. So that's the other thing too, is to go back and look every year around your birthday, around Christmas, see what you spent and plan for it for the next year. It takes a lot of discipline. Like I said, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous. It's like a 12-step program. There's levels to it. There's levels to becoming financially free. But whatever point that you're at, start from ground zero. And like I said, forgive yourself. You know what? Forgive yourself for whatever you did in the past, and now just secure the bag for the future. Anything that you want to do. Yesterday, what's today? Sunday was our 10th year anniversary of starting our own company. Diamond Residential has been in business for 10 years, which is just amazing to me. It's a huge accomplishment. But every month we budget. We have a budget. I know what we want to spend on marketing. I know what we want to spend, how much money we need to make in loans. When you want to start a business, you have to get your household finances in order, because if you have a solid household budget, that will translate over to becoming a good business owner. If your personal finances are a wreck, surely you're not going to be able to manage your business finances. You're going to do the exact same thing. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So you figure out what your fixed expenses are. I'm going back to the first step. You figure out what your fixed expenses are. Then you figure out what you have coming in. Right there, you should have surplus, because those are your fixed expenses. So then you find the fluff, all the extra stuff. If you get to the end of the month and like, I know I should have some money left. That's when you start making the little sacrifices. And I don't believe in, I always say, take some time to enjoy the view. I try to take a vacation every year. I try to do little things, have weekend getaways and travel and do those. That's what you should be spending your money on, experiences. I'm going down to see if there's any comments. Oh, Jocelyn said free coffee at work. Absolutely. Take advantage of those things. Use coupons. When you go grocery shopping, pull out those coupons. When you're shopping online, I am a coupon queen. I can make $1 out of 15 cents. I say that all the time, but I really can. So what you have to do is you have to start looking at what you want, and then, figure out what you need. It's a difference, a want versus a need. And when you start to separate your budget, your fixed expenses are needs. You have to have somewhere to live, you have to have a car to drive. And another thing too, I'll do a credit one later. But if you don't have the best credit, don't go get an expensive car payment and give it all to interest. Those are the type of things that, you want to wait until you're financially sound to start getting those types of things. So once you find the fluff in your budget, every month make a sacrifice that you're going to give up something. So let's say, for example, you find $75. Okay, Jocelyn, I'm going to use you for example. Instead of going to Starbucks, I'm going to drink the free coffee at work. That's going to save me $60 a month. Where is my money best served? Your money is best served paying off high credit card debt. You want to save some and pay some. Every debt that you have, you want to get to a point to where you're paying extra on it, extra on your mortgage. One extra mortgage payment a year pays your house off 7 years earlier, saves you about $20,000 to $30,000 in interest. Is that worth not shopping? Absolutely. And if you have $1,000 payment, that's not even $100 a month. And you're going to pay your house off 7 years earlier and save yourself a ton of interest. If you have a high interest credit card, that's like maybe 30% interest. You want to start with the highest interest credit cards first and pay them down. But before you do any of that, you want to practice discipline for about 90 days. Put the money in a savings account so that you can tell yourself that you didn't need the money. So start to find the fluff, start to see where your budget is. And for those of you that are upside down in your budget, you may have to make a sacrifice and get another stream of income. It's a temporary sacrifice for long-term gain. Some people have to do that. You know, they have just overextended themselves. They have more bills than money. And so you may have to make that sacrifice. It's going to be worth it in the end. So you find all the extra money that you want to save, and every week you take a look at it. Do not wait a whole month. Every week, see if you're on track. Hold yourself accountable. That's the most important thing. Hold yourself accountable. Reward yourself with something other than spending money. Maybe cook a big dinner, or your family will celebrate, or you guys can talk about what you're going to do with all the money that you're saving. And then, you know, have little incentives and contests with your family. So every week, let's say you're not going to do Starbucks and you save $60. For the first month, don't pay anything. Put the $60 in the savings account. And listen, I don't care if you have 12 savings accounts. Like if you want to have a vacation savings, a Christmas savings, whatever it takes for you to do what you need to do. Put the money aside. At the end of the first month, you start to see what you really did need to spend money on. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed how much money you figure out that you don't need. You decide, okay, this month I'm only going to spend $100 on clothes. I'm only going to spend $50 on nails. Whatever it is that you spend emotionally. Because if you think about money, that's one thing you can control when everything else in your world is going crazy. You can control what you put in your mouth and what you spend out of your pocket. And sometimes we're emotional spenders. Walmart is one of my things. So I go on Walmart and I get so distracted. I posted a picture of a skirt that I bought at Walmart the other day. I didn't need that skirt. I was going in there to get groceries. So now to save money, Walmart is a budget sabotager for me. I shop online and I go pick my groceries up, so I don't even have to go in Walmart and see all the cute stuff that they have. Walmart has cute jewelry. They have everything. So just recognize what your triggers are. Like I said, you have to look at it just like Alcoholics Anonymous. You can't be in the same environments that cause you to get your finances out of order in the first place. So once you write down everything that you have coming in, everything that you have going out, and figure out what you're going to save money on, put that money aside, you'll start to, after the first month, you'll see how much you saved. Then you want to have a plan. You want to say what you're going to pay off first. You want to have targets. So in the first month, let's say if you owe $1,000 on a credit card and you found $60 extra in your budget. The credit card minimum payment is $25. You're going to start paying $85 a month on that credit card. You'll pay that credit card off in a year. You saved yourself a ton of interest, because if you pay the minimum payment on credit cards, if you read the fine print, it takes you about 25 years to pay off a credit card. So now you've tackled that first credit card. So have your list, your target list. After I pay this, I'm going to pay this, I'm going to pay this. The next month, after you pay that credit card off, you're continuing to save. You now have $85 more. You take that $85 and you put it on something else. And then you begin to pay that one down. And after you pay that down, you just keep going until you have no debt. And then you want to make sure that you save, you max out your 401k too. If you're in your 30s, you should be contributing at least 12% to your 401k. And if you have a match, that's a bonus. If you can't afford the 12%, you should be doing 6%. Let's say your company matches 6%. You contribute 6% and let them match 6%. That way you can fund your retirement. If you're in your 40s, you should be saving about 15 to 18%. And if you're in your 50s, you should be maxing it out. because retirement is right around the corner and it'll creep up on you before you know it. And things will get more expensive as the time goes on. So you just want to make sure that you're not making short-term decisions that are going to affect you long-term. I'm trying to read the comments on here. Yeah, shopping is, I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you. I love clothes. I do. I love to look nice, but not at the expense of my family. Not at the expense of my son's college fund, not at the expense of my retirement, not at the expense of me taking vacations. I'll go to the thrift store. I'll shop online. I'll use my coupons. Now, every now and then I'll splurge on things because I work hard. But as far as it wreaking havoc on my budget, I'm not going to allow that, because I have my priorities set, and my future and the things that I want to do are too important for me for a cute outfit. So definitely that's one of the things. I mean, we all like to look nice. We all like to look amazing. And most of you look amazing. You make the clothes. Clothes don't make you. I could put on a $8 outfit and hook it up. This hat is from Amazon. So it's like you don't have to spend a ton of money on your clothes to look good. But it's okay to spend money on your clothes if you got all your finances in order. Don't get me wrong. Because, you know, I have a clothing budget. I dress up for work every day. My husband calls it my uniform. So I set aside money for my clothes. But I think if you were on the other live, I mentioned that I was spending a lot of money. And I was like, what is going on with me? I mean, this is not normal for me. I normally stick with my budget. I was telling them at work, I'm like, I'm emotionally, something's going on with me, because I was just spending mindlessly. And that's something that I don't do. And that was another thing about Walmart. It's like that's why Walmart is set up like that. If you have to walk past the clothes to get to the groceries. And if you want to go to the household, you got to walk past the TVs. The department stores are set up to have you go, oh, to distract you. So you have to recognize the distractions, and you have to work towards the goal. Rome wasn't built in a day. And it's no different than when you are trying to, I always use fitness for an example, or food. When you go on a diet, if you take the all or nothing approach, you're going to fail every time, because you beat yourself up so much. You cheat one time and you're like, the world is over. You cheat one time and then you eat bad for the whole week or the whole month. And I know somebody can relate to that. It's the same thing with your finances. Give yourself some grace and mercy. You are human. Yes, you are going to fall off the wagon. You're going to be at the mall and you can't resist some cute jacket. Been there, done that. Almost did it today, but I walked out the store. Some cute jacket. You're human. Allow yourself some grace and mercy, but stay focused on your goals and the task at hand. Let me see if I forgot anything. Set aside what I call the variable expenses. Get you a 1-year calendar. This is what I do every year, and I actually use my Microsoft Outlook calendar. Get you a calendar that's for a full year, and write down things that you have due at different times of the year. If your car insurance is due every 6 months, write it down. If your water bill is due every 3 months, write it down. If you're going to take a family vacation, if you know that every Thanksgiving you're traveling, write it down that you need to look for airline tickets. If it's easier for you to do it online, do it online. If it's easier for you to do it on a paper calendar, do it on a paper calendar. And 90 days before that expense comes up, you want to start preparing for it. You add all of those expenses up. Let's say at the end of the year, after you written down all of your expenses, those variable expenses total $2,000. All you have to do is put aside money every month for those. If you have an electric bill, we're in Illinois. In the wintertime, our electric bill is high. In the summer, our electric bill is low. And in the wintertime, our gas bill is high. Get on a budget plan. As much as you can have regular, consistent expenses, it'll be easier for you. If a winter gas bill is a budget sabotager for you, why would you do that to yourself? Why wouldn't you plan? It's the same thing every year. You either get on a budget plan or you put some money aside to say, I know that we want to be warm. I know that our gas bill is normally higher in the winter, so you put that money aside. Those are things that you can control. Even on the graph on the electric bill, it tells you the highs and lows of your bill, so there's no excuse. So you have to start thinking ahead, because if you're not planning for these expenses, they will creep up on you. And I use this example in all of my seminars. I was driving one day, they were doing work, if you're in Illinois, in Lake County on Sunset Avenue. And I was driving down Sunset Avenue, and there was a big old pothole, and the sign that said pothole that they were doing work had tipped over. And I went into the pothole and I got a flat tire. Now, I don't get flat tires often. I had no idea a flat tire cost $300. Well, first of all, it would have cost more than that if my husband wasn't able to come and get me, pick me up, and fix a tire. I would have had to have the car towed, so it would have been even more. Okay, so if I didn't have $300, that would have been a budget sabotager. That would have set me back. I would have either had to use a credit card, or I would have had to not pay something or borrow the money. Those are the little things that you want to start establishing reserves. That's why you need to know what your fixed costs are. Once you know what your fixed costs are, you can start putting money aside. You want to have, rule of thumb, 1 month reserves will be a lifesaver for you, but you want to get to a point to where you have 6 to 12 months reserves in a bank account somewhere. If your fixed costs every month are $2,000, you want to eventually build up to having $12,000 to $24,000 in a savings account. Why? For that simple reason. If something happens, something comes up, you're sick, you need to have an emergency, you have something to fall back on. The stress that it takes off of you to just have those reserves is unexplainable. If you have at least 1 month, you can breathe a sigh of relief. Because if I had $2,000 in monthly expenses and I had a flat tire of $300, I have the money already. I didn't have to borrow, beg, or steal to get it. I didn't have to borrow from my credit card. I didn't have to call somebody and get the money. And I didn't have to not pay a bill. And 99% of the time, when you get to the point where you have more bills than money, that's how you start to fall behind on your car payment and your rent or mortgage. And the reason that you do that is because that's the biggest expense going out each month. That gives you the most amount of money, dispensable cash. And once you start to fall behind, it's so hard to catch up. So you never want to get to that point. And if you get to that point and you can dig yourself out, that's awesome. Now, what is coming up in January for most people? Ola, you said, what if you don't make that kind of money? Then you just want to make sure that you have more incoming funds than you do bills. And you joined late, but I was saying that if you're at a point where you're negative, where you have more bills than you do money, you have to find another stream of income. You may have to get a part-time job. There's plenty of things that you can do to make a short-term sacrifice to get yourself back on track, or you need to start eliminating some things. You may have to downsize your car, go back and find the fluff for unfixed, unfixed expenses that are not fixed, and fluff. Like, you may feel like you don't have money, but you're eating out a lot. I had a customer that we sat down with their budget, and they found like $500 a month that they were eating out, and she didn't even realize it because she was stopping here, stopping there. The kids wanted something to eat. She would stop and get food for them. That adds up. If you go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal, by the time you're done and you get food for all the family, you spent $20, $25. And don't even go to a restaurant and you have a family of 4, you're going to spend at least $100. If you do that twice in a week, that's $125. It's not that you don't have the money, you're not keeping track of how you're spending it. Yeah, so thank you, Tina. Yes, tax refunds. Some of you get tax refunds every year. This is why I wanted to get to you before Christmas and before your tax refund, because what most people do every year is they overspend at Christmas And then they say, well, I'll replace the money with my tax refund. I watch Judge Mathis all the time. And if you see on there, everybody on there say, oh, well, she said she was going to pay me back when she got her tax refund. He's like, don't you watch my show? You fell for that. But when you get your tax refund, have a plan for it. Put some of it away. That is your opportunity to get that 1 month's reserves that you would not be able to save. Because a lot of us really, a lot of people may just be living paycheck to paycheck. That is your opportunity once a year to put some money aside so that you no longer have to live paycheck to paycheck. Why would you, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you get that windfall of money, go blow it all? And people always say, well, it's my tax refund. I can do what I want to do with it. Yes. But if it's going to cause you pain and grief for the rest of the year, was it really worth it? Is it really worth it to spend $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000? That's the perfect time to buy a house. Shameless plug. That's the perfect time to buy a house. That's the perfect time to put a down payment if you have to get a car. That's what you use that money for. That's a perfect time, even if you're if you only put $1,000 a month, $1,000 to your tax refund away, and your monthly expenses are $2,000, at least you have $1,000. I have customers that come to buy a house in June and are getting $7,000, $8,000 a month, and they have no money left. It's like, check yourself. Check yourself to find out why you feel like you're not worthy to be financially sound. It comes down to being worthy. Nobody is going to take care of you like you. I say that about everything. Same thing about your health. You got to feel worthy to be healthy. You got to feel good about yourself, because you got to take care of you first. Just like they tell you on the plane, put your oxygen mask on first. When you start to get your finances in order, your children, you're changing the narrative. Your children will no longer go into adulthood in debt. They will be savers. They will no longer go into adulthood not knowing what a 401k is, not knowing what stocks and bonds are, not investing their money. You're changing the narrative, not just for you, for your family. And then when you start to change and people start to see a change in you, you can start to help them get their finances in order. The one thing I don't believe in, that I'll never do, I'll never have information and hold on to it. If I got it, you got it. I'm going to share it with you. So, and these are things that I had to learn on my own. I didn't always have a savings. I didn't always have my finances in order. I had to learn the hard way. Yes, months had more bills than money. I sure did. But I had to change the narrative. Now my son has a job. He asked me, Mom, can you connect me with your investor? I want to start investing my money. He's a saver. When he goes to shop for something, he goes to Amazon. He compares prices. He wants a new Mac computer. He's like, he told me, I'll get a refurbished one. I don't have to get a new one. I'm changing the narrative for my son. So then he's going to teach his children how to save instead of spending. He's going to teach them about reserves. And now you're creating generational wealth. You're not creating family after family that's in debt. And like I said, forgive yourself. Whatever you did yesterday, it's okay. Today is a new day. Start over. If you already plan to have a big Christmas and you already promised your kids all these Christmas gifts, go ahead. But start afresh. And don't just make New Year's resolutions. These are lifetime resolutions. I have a millionaire mindset. I am worth everything that God has for me. And I'm going to start saving and prioritize. If you're eating out a lot, cook. You can Google any recipe on there. Get a crock pot. Everybody in the world has an air fryer. An air fryer is a good investment. To me, it is, because you can make a lot of things in it. You can do a lot of different recipes. So those are sacrifices. Like I said, you can afford to travel. All you have to do is make sandwiches. If you look at how much money you spend, I'm planning to do a 50th birthday trip to Jamaica, Lord willing. And to go on the trip, it's $100 a month. That's all everybody has to save, is $100 a month. Now, you might think, I don't have $100 a month. I bet you do. I bet if I looked at your budget, if I looked at all of your expenses, I'd find a lot of money. I would find Starbucks, I would find eating out. I pack my lunch every day. I pack every day. I plan my meals. I pack my lunch every day. And if we're going to go out to dinner, we go out on the weekends or what have you. But if you're eating out lunch every day, you're probably spending at least $7 to $10. That's $50 a week. The trip is only $100 a month. That's $200 a month. You can afford to do whatever you want to do. You just have to prioritize how you spend your money. Let me see if I have any questions on here. So it's a matter of making sandwiches. And if you are married, you share a house with someone, you have a partner, you need to discuss finances together, because you can't be striving towards saving and they're spending. You bring the money in, you put it in the account, they take it out. It's not productive. Try to be on one accord. And yes, it is hard. The first 90 days, it takes 21 days to create a new habit. But the first 90 days is really just evaluating where you're spending your money. And you may even want to go back further than that. You need to look at a whole year's expenses and see all those variable expenses where you're spending money, not every month, like car insurance, those types of things. You want to be aware of that. So you get the calendar, you put those on there. I use Outlook, so it pops up. Like even when I have to renew my license plates, I put on there when the renewal is due. One, to remind myself to look for it in my email, because they email it to me now. And then I know that I have that expense. Sometimes I'm pretty anal about my money. I used to be more anal, but now that I have everything on auto pay, I'm less anal about it. But you want to get to a point to where you're so disciplined that you have managed your money so well that you can fix it and forget about it. You can set your bills up on auto pay. And every month, and that's going to take you to a whole nother level of discipline. If you set that savings account on auto transfer every month on whatever day of the month, that money is going into the savings, you're going to think twice before you spend money on something you don't need. Because you're going to say no, because if it goes into my savings, I'm going to have to go back and get it. Small baby steps. Like I said, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous. They don't just stop drinking all at once. They take steps to it. It's levels to this. It's levels to getting your finances in order. But once you start to get the finances in order and you start to reap the rewards and start to see the money accumulating here, debts going down here, 401k growing, got a little investment going on, there's no turning back for you. And don't sacrifice the future of your family for short-term things. You can always, like, I'll tell you, maybe a couple of years ago, my mom was like, girl, buy it. There was this Louis Vuitton purse that I wanted. I had the shoes to match it perfectly. I mulled over that Louis Vuitton purse for about 6 months. It's not that I didn't have the money for it. It was like I had to convince myself that it was even worth spending the money on. I had to go back and say, how many times am I going to carry it a year and all that stuff? I mean, I'm anal. So, don't be like me, but I'm anal. But it's like, if you think things over, that's why I said I try not to do mindless spending. I try to have a clothing budget. I like clothes. I acknowledge that. Listen, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I shop. But I still have a budget for that. So once I max out my budget for clothing, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, because I have other things that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save for my retirement. I'll be 50 next year. My husband is 53. He'll be 54 next year. My son is in college. I started a college fund for my son when he was younger. He won't have any student loans. And I didn't put a ton of money in there, but I set it up on auto pay. It came out like a bill, and you put it away. If you have a mortgage, you should be paying extra on your mortgage payment. If you have a car payment, you should be paying a little bit extra on your car payment. Even if it's $10, it's $10 less that you're going to pay in interest. Mortgage payment, take your mortgage payment divided by 12, pay that extra each month on principal. You've now taken 7 years off your mortgage. Be smart with your money. And like I said, if you're in the position to where you actually do have less money than bills, you need another stream of income. You may have to drive for Uber. You may have to get a part-time job. Dig yourself out of the hole. But guess what? The time is going to pass you by anyway. And don't leave yourself in a rut. Forgive yourself for the things that you've done. You cannot get that time back. There's no need in looking in your rearview mirror. There's nothing you can do about what you've done but learn from it. Learn what you never want to do again. I never want to be broke again, so I'm taking steps to never be broke again. Not saying that I'm perfect. I make mistakes too. Luckily, I have a husband that's a miser. He doesn't like to spend money, because both of us can't be spending. But, so take baby steps and give yourself some grace and mercy. Do I have any questions? And hi, Pam. And if you want, okay, Diane, I'll do it again. I'm actually going to be probably starting some webinars with workbooks and everything, and it'll probably be a little course, because I do like to guide people through their budgets to help you. But if you have any questions on your budget, if you're working on it and you get stumped, Instagram too, and you get stumped, just send me an inbox or send me an email. I think I put my email on here. If not, I'll type it in. And you can email me. If you want the interactive budget, send me an email. I'll put it in here after the live, and I will send it to you. It's just that important to me. It's important that we change the narrative and that we start to build generational wealth. And all those things that you want are on the other side of discipline. It's on the other side of prioritizing your money. That business that you want to start, that house that you want to buy, you might want to upgrade your car. It's all on the other side of discipline. And most Americans, about 90% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and spend more than what they make. But it's not because you don't make the money. It's because you have not tracked it and you have not prioritized your expenses. I'm going to put my email in here. And for you on Instagram, my email is tammy@tammypmore.com. If you want the interactive budget, I can send it to you. If you have questions about your budget, you can inbox me. I have no problems answering it. So it's important. I want to give oh my goodness, I don't know why that black hair information came up, but I want to share the information that I have with you because it's that important. So if you have small children and they're under, it doesn't matter if they're small, start putting a little money away for their college funds. If you have questions about how to invest your money, I do have a couple of excellent investors financial advisors that can help you. There's Linda Paul, there's John Slater, there's Manisa Slater. She also does budget counseling. So I'm not the end all be all. There's a lot of people great people that do what I do, that are willing to help you get your finances in order. But don't make don't let your short-term consequences stop you from achieving your long-term goals. Your money, your financial future is that important. And the effects of having a good budget is good credit, because you start to pay your bills on time. You start to pay a little bit more, and your credit score goes up without even trying. Most of the time, your credit score, if your finances are not in order, your credit score is not in order. Very rarely do I have somebody that comes in to see me to buy a house that has excellent credit and their finances are not in order. They may be paying the minimum payment, but they pay those bills on time. And I always encourage everyone that's getting ready to buy a house to sit down and do and have a working budget, so that you don't go into it blindly. Call, if you're getting ready to move somewhere to a new apartment, call and find out what the utilities are. Figure out how much more gas is going to cost you if you move further away from work. That's another thing too. When you take on a new job, it might pay you $10,000 more a year, but you got to drive 40 more miles to get to it. How much is that going to cost you in gas and tolls? Those are the things you have to think about. You can't just look at the $10,000, because out of that $10,000, they're taking taxes, they're taking Medicare. And so the money that you have left, are you going to spend it all in trying to get there? You're going to eat out because you're that much further away from home. You have tolls, more tolls, going to be maybe 2 tolls a day. So think things through before you make hasty decisions. Sometimes it's better to, take a shorter, make a little less, and not drive as far, because you save money on gas and things like that. So make great decisions for your family. You and your family are worth it. A millionaire mindset is not made overnight. Don't make New Year's resolutions about your finances. Make lifetime resolutions. Set goals for yourself. Write down where you want to be in 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, and then go back and look at it and see if you achieved it. And remember to just take baby steps, because if you go in with the all or nothing attitude, you're going to fail. It's the same thing with diets and everything. Don't do all of nothing. Take it one step at a time. Yes, I am licensed in Texas, Dia. I can help you. I sure can. I would be honored to help you. And if you want to get pre-approved for a home loan, if you want credit coaching, I put all of my information in the description. I am available to help you. I am licensed in 12 states. Let's see if I can remember them all. There's Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Missouri, Kentucky, Colorado, and California. California, I'm forgetting two. Florida, did I say Florida? Yeah, Florida. I'm licensed in 12 states. So any of those states that you live in, I can help you there. And don't forget to support the small businesses that I featured today. My sister, I would take my hat off and show you my wig. It looks like Bozo the Clown. It has no hair up here, but it helps my hats to fit perfect. I love them. I wore them 3 days in a row. She thought I was crazy when I asked for her. She did a great job. And then this is Leslie at A Few Fine Things. She custom made this t-shirt for me, Millionaire Mindset. So I'm excited to be with you each Tuesday. Thank you to each of you that made the macaroni and cheese. That was pretty good. And also I'll be showing you my head wrap soon. So every week I'm trying to do a different topic, but I will cover credit repair and all those different things. Just faith, fitness, finances, food, and fashion. So I will be doing one from my closet, and I will have special guests. So I'm hoping within the next month, because we're going into a new year, I'm going to put together a fitness challenge for you guys so that you'll be able to check in every week with me, and hopefully have my trainer on here to talk to you about some tips, some workouts that you can do to stay in shape, because health is wealth. And the Bible says, above all things, as your soul prospers, God wants your health to prosper as well. So, just do a total life makeover. Get your finances in order, get your health in order. And for those of you that wanted to join the keto group, I sent out an invitation. So if you did not receive it, send me a message in my inbox, because I did send it out, but some people were saying that they didn't receive it. I'm not licensed in Mississippi, Ola, because it's a brick and mortar state. So in order for me to be licensed in Mississippi, I have to actually open up an office there. And I did try that before. That may be in the future, but I would actually have to have someone run my office in Mississippi. I am working on Arizona. Oh, yes. Thank you, Valerie. I am licensed in Tennessee. That was the other one. I'm licensed in Tennessee. So, and my goal for 2020 is to lend in every state that I'm licensed in. I'm doing a pretty good job of that now, but I want to do seminars in every state. I am actually coming to Mississippi to do a seminar, because that's my home state. So whether I'm licensed there or not, I want to get the information out. But I do want to do a seminar in every state that I'm licensed in. My seminars are always free, and I want to come there and share the information that I have, the ministry that God has given me to help people get their finances in order. And how do you pay your bills off? You pay them off one debt at a time. So, as you start to find the money, I'm going to share this with you, and then I'm going to go, because we're almost at our hour. I had a customer that I helped find. I think she found about $700 a month, and she went out and bought a new car. And there was nothing wrong with it. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. You weren't supposed to get into more debt. You're supposed to pay down the other debt. And then once you pay down the other debt, it's okay. You pay down the other debt and you start saving really good. Go ahead and buy the car. My husband and I both bought cars for our 20th anniversary a couple of years ago. But we planned for it. He told me he wanted to buy another car a year in advance. We planned for them. We got them at 0% interest. We pay extra. I think they'll be paid off next year. I'm not sure. But, it was free money. Otherwise, I would have paid it off already. If I had any type of interest on it, I would have paid it off. But, you know, plan ahead. You know how many miles you have on your car, and sometimes you can't prevent it. You're driving down the street. My son had a car accident. You might have to get a new car. There's nothing you can do about things like that. It's life. It's called life. So you just, roll with it. But for the things that you can control, take control of them. And your finances are definitely something that you can take control of. Why go to work every day? Why pursue your passion every day if your money is just going through your hands like sand? You're worth more than that. So your finances say a lot about how you feel about yourself. And that is true. It's true no matter who you are. If you care a lot about your finances and your money, you care about yourself. And you can tell at different stages in your life what you were going through. Because if you were mismanaging your money, you were probably dealing with something. So how you manage your finances says a lot about how you feel about yourself. And you should feel worthy to be working towards being debt-free, saving money, investing, and having less bills than money, having some money left over each month. So try not to try to figure out why you're living paycheck to paycheck. Like I said, most of you have the money anyway. Some people have life circumstances that happen. They get sick, they lose a job, they lose an income, they get a divorce. Those are things that, life happens and you work towards trying to figure out how to make it work. That's not the case for most of you. Guaranteed. It's not your situation. Your situation is you get it, you spend it. You get it, you spend it. And at the end of the month, you're like, what just happened? That's the case for most of you. So I thank you all for joining. Let me see if there's anything on Instagram. Thank you all for joining me. I will save this live and I will put it on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Tammy P. Moore. Please like my Diamond Residential page and my Tammy P. Moore and Associates page. I'll be posting information there. I appreciate your support. My goal is to get this information out worldwide, and I can't do that without your help. I mentioned before that I'm afraid to ask for help. I used to be afraid to ask for help because I'm asking for help now to share the information. All the information that I share is free because I care that much about. I'm sharing what I've learned with you. I'm sharing the lessons that I've learned with you, and hopefully you'll pay it forward and share with someone else. So when you get your finances in order and you hear somebody else struggling, don't hold the information that you have. Help them get their finances in order as well. And each one teach one. The cycles will be broken, generational curses will be broken, and you'll change the narrative in your community and your family. And share the information with your children. You have no idea how much it will change your child's mindset on money. And, it's good to give your children everything, but not at the expense of your future, your current finances. And if you're missing bills to do that, it's not good. Not good at all. So remember what I told you first live, if it's on your, it's not an asset. So thank you all for joining. I don't see any questions. I will go back and look. Every time that I have a seminar, I'll post a flyer if I'm going to be in your area. I'll be reaching out to some of you in different states because I'm going to need a host for each state. Valerie, I'll probably reach out to you for Tennessee. I'm going to need a host for each state because I don't know of locations and places that I can have them, but I will travel. I will hop a plane in a minute and come where you are. Deanna, I might have you hosted in Texas for me down there. And I'm definitely coming to Mississippi. I have a friend who's going to do it in Kentucky. But hopefully, we can get the word out and change the narrative for us. So thank you all for joining me. That's my time for tonight. If you have any questions or you want the budget, let me know and I will email it to you. You can send me an inbox and I'll send it over. Thank you. Bye.